This week in the field, a recap of my photo trip to the Big Sur area of California. Hey everyone, I'm Scott Davenport and welcome to In the Field. Thanks for joining me today. Today's a recap of a photo excursion I took recently in the Big Sur area of California. So this is the Monterey, Carmel, Big Sur area. And there is just so much to photograph here. You have probably seen photos of the Big Sur area in your social feeds or just searching around for beautiful places to go with your camera. And certainly the area didn't disappoint. Now, what I wanted to do in this video is, as opposed to just go through the laundry list of places that I visited, there's always the handful that always bubble to the top, right? Pfeiffer Beach, McWay Falls, the Bixby Bridge, and those are awesome and they're great. I went to at least 25 locations and maybe more because there was a lot of hiking and just hunting around. And I thought I would share 3 places that I found to be surprising. They surprised me in either how much more there was to photograph there than I thought, or they were just, these little gems that I found to be incredibly rewarding, even if they were very easy to get to. So that's what we're going to do. First on the list is the Cypress Grove in the Point Lobos State Reserve. At first, I wasn't particularly keen on going to this location. I'm much more of an ocean coastlines kind of person, less so about forests and trees. I certainly like myself a tree now and again, but since these were abutting against the ocean, of course I was going to go check it out. And I was pleasantly surprised with the variety. It's just a great mix of a cypress grove, there are some dramatic sea stacks, and just some generally very interesting trees, different colored mosses all hanging on them. And all of this, packed within a hike that, if it's a mile, it's long, but you could spend easily 2 hours just, working your way along this path and taking in all sorts of different photos. So that was a very pleasant surprise, Cypress Grove in Point Lobos Reserve. The next one, I think it's called the Rocky Ridge Trail. It's part of the Garapata Park. It's a little north of Soberantes Point. That's a very popular spot as well, beautiful in its own right. What I liked about the Rocky Ridge Trail is it was a nice mix of both north and south views of the landscape. And so you actually, when you face the south, you can actually get Soberantes Point in the photo, and that, adds to it, because this is large mountain that comes right up against the ocean. But also the mix of wildflowers with the dramatic seascapes. The flowers were still quite in bloom in the middle of June when I went. And there's also the potential for the human element to enter in. In one of the spots of the trail, there's a wooden bridge that goes across, a small canyon. And because of that, it's a popular trail. There's plenty of people around, so capturing folks in silhouette, adding a certainly a size and a sense of dimension and scale to the photos, as well as telling a bit more of a story than beyond just a beautiful landscape. A third spot is Casta Point. Initially, I had scoped this place out because of what I saw on the maps, and it looked like a great spot to be able to get out over the ocean, so to speak, on a big landmass and be able to see nice views to the north and south. As it turns out, you can't hike out there. But nevertheless, it became still one of my favorite spots for these little surprises, the places that you hadn't thought about as much. And when you look back at the photos, they're great. And this one's very simple to reach. It's pull off the side of the road, and you're there. There's no hike involved. It's fantastic if you're on, let's say, a non-photo trip. You're traveling with a family, or maybe for whatever reason you're needing to get from point A to point B, and it takes you through Big Sur. Lucky you. Pull off the side of the road and grab a few photos, and you continue on your way. A beautiful set of rolling hills. These were covered in flowers still when I was there, but even if it's just green, I could see it being very pretty. And then, of course, dramatic seascape in the background. This is just scratching the surface of Big Sur. I spent 3.5 days there. I could have easily spent twice as long and still have plenty more to photograph. If there was something, if there's a tip here, I think it's giving yourself time for what I'll call like second tier locations. Again, the big ones, 17-mile drive and the Lone Cypress, McWay Falls, Bixby Bridge. Those are all there. I went to all of those as well, and those are great. But there's more to the area than just those spots. spots, and some of these places you can end up having virtually to yourself because most folks are going to the big ticket places. Hit those up for sure, but then take a look deeper. Give yourself the extra time to try some of what I said, second tier locations. And I guess I say that in air quotes. It's not that they are not beautiful in their own right. It's just that they're, I guess, less on the itineraries of, go visit these 10 places in Big Sur. So I hope that was interesting for you. You liked it. And if you're planning a trip to the Big Sur area, give yourself plenty of time because there is just so much to point your camera at that is gorgeous and beautiful. That's going to do it for this week's In the Field. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, please let me know somehow. Comments on the video below. Questions are always great to hear. And until next time, my name's Scott Davenport, and happy shooting.